What India Thinks Today, Delhi. AI Squared Awards, where artificial intelligence meets artistic imagination.
हमें स्वस्थ रखने वाली सारी चीजें ज्यादातर शुद्ध होनी चाहिए। सूर्य की किरणें और स्वच्छ पानी। वैसा ही है लाइन अरेबियन डेट्स और अब लाइना डेट्स। इसमें फाइबर्स और विटामिन्स भी कुदरती हैं, जो देता है स्वास्थ्य भी कुदरती।
लाइना प्रीमियम डेट्स।
Welcome back. Thanks for staying with In Your Interest. We continue with our focus on the Gulf region, but instead of talking about missiles in the Strait of Hormuz, let's talk about the children in the Gulf, the Indian kids over there, and the trauma that they're facing because of this war. As the conflict in the region intensifies, our attention is often fixed on the front lines and the political maneuvers in distant capitals. However, there is a silent crisis unfolding within the homes of Indian expatriates living across these GCC Gulf Cooperation Council countries. More than 500,000 Indian children are currently caught in a cycle of war trauma that experts warn could lead to lifelong anxiety, from the piercing sound of sirens to the terrifying boom of interceptions mid-air and the constant ping of emergency alerts on their phones. These young minds are being forced to process a reality that no child should have to face. Psychologists point out that these children are witnessing the war in two distinct but equally damaging ways. Some are facing direct exposure. It's unfortunate, hearing the sirens firsthand, seeing missile streaks in the sky, or even grappling with the loss of people that they know. Others are being hit by indirect exposure, where the war is piped directly into their lives through television screens, through social media feeds, and the repeated exposure is creating chronic stress in these children. So, to understand what it does to them, and the big question that we are trying to decode and understand is that how can Indian families in the Gulf support children's mental health during the conflict, and will the psychological impact last after the war ends? How can parents manage their own stress to support their kids? Well, with us on the broadcast is Chandrasekhar Bhatia, who's a parent and chairman of the GBF in Middle East. Sir, help the viewers understand what is probably going through the mind of a young child. Let's not talk about Indian children. Let's talk about children at large first. They might not understand the geopolitical scenarios, but they do understand that a war is underway and safety is a concerning issue for them.
Sir, one thing, thanks for inviting us. I'm very thankful to you. And one more very important thing, say in the Dubai and the Gulf, the rulers and authorities are they take care of the children. They started working at the home. The children are staying in the home, and the parents and children. I see in my balcony many children playing in the outside. They allow them, as well as they are playing in the corridor. They are playing very well. Everything. I remember one thing. Many children I heard, and myself, I say many children. His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, he was the Vice President and President of UAE, Prime Minister of UAE, ruler of Dubai. He say one word I always remember, and I say everyone, challenge is not a challenge, challenge is a crisis. So our challenge is crisis. So we are going to out from crisis, and Dubai is very well going normally. Okay. Everybody very happy. They are doing freely work everywhere. Whatever you want, children.
But then when the missile debris came in, social media, so many Instagram reels, social media reels.
I'm sorry to say, many Indian children are giving the wrong information, and it has not happened. Children are very well. My children, grandchildren, and other people, they are very happy. We explain them. This is the crisis and the things their children see. Even I see first time war like this.
Okay.
But everybody is very consciously we say them, please go with this and use what I can say, you can self-manage yourself.
No, you're
And
absolutely
children
right,
are-
Mr. Bhatia. Let me not take away from the fact that you're a great parent
Yeah.
and your children are lucky to have you as a parent. You've done a great job.
Yes.
But that's not the story for all the other children in the region. Dr. Deepak Raheja is also with us. He's a senior psychiatrist and director at Hope Care India. Dr. Raheja, when children repeatedly see images of bombings, read up the same news on their televisions, some are directly exposed to this war, scenario. What is actually psychologically happening with this youngster? You'll have to unmute yourself, Doc.
Sorry.
Yeah,
What
go ahead.
really happens is children as young as these process the information more emotionally rather than cognitively. So, unlike adults, the impact that it has on their psyche in being able to produce symptoms, whether they are directly in the region, viewing the war with near proximity, with bombs being around,
Yeah.
or even if they are in another region far away, the impact can be very, very distressing, producing symptoms of anxiety disorder, post traumatic stress disorder, acute stress, clinging behavior, the whole concept of safety challenge. And that's, please understand, that is the harbinger of a child to know that he's in a safe world, in a safe environment, because he's dependent and he knows
You're
that
right.
there are people around to take care of him. When the basis of that is shattered, that can deeply get encrypted in certain emotional areas, amygdala, hippocampus in the brain, that can then produce far-reaching consequences for them as adults also. So it is very, very important how we help process this information to
How
them.
do we do that? How do we do that, doctor? Because, we've got Mr. Chandrasekhar Bhatia, he's a parent, and he says, life is normal in Dubai. Children aren't really, having to deal with this sort of scenario. Not just Dubai that we're talking about, there's Kuwait, there's Oman, there's Qatar. People are consuming news directly, indirectly about the war every day. And the children might not understand the geopolitical or the political maneuvers, but they do understand that something's, afloat in terms of their safety. So in 2026, mental health is a big gig. People are saying that, we need to talk about it, quote unquote, talk about it. Is talking going to help this time with the kids as well?
Certainly, that is the key, because children don't understand geographical, political boundaries. They understand religion. What they understand, that the whole concept of the world being safe. So I respect when Mr. Chandrasekhar says that life is normal. From the lens of an adult, we might see it as normal, but it is very important that the vulnerable few who will have far-reaching consequences, we are able to prevent it. So it's important to emotionally cushion them, to talk and process the information to them, because of the algorithms, you will not find the war. Children will not find the war. The war will find us. If you see, when we press a couple of videos, the algorithms follow us, and we keep getting those.
And that's the
very,
indirect
very
exposure that
disturbing
we're talking about.
visuals
That's a
as
great
we-
point. That's a great point, Dr. Raheja. I was reading a report where they said parents don't fully understand that these images deal that kind of a blow mentally to the children. So, to the parent on the show, and of course, you're somebody who lives in the Middle East, you're chairman GBF Middle East, sir. Mr. Bhatia, help the
Yes, sir.
viewers understand, your own example. Have you spoken to your children about it? Do they totally internalize and understand what's really happening? Do they understand that there's a war afloat?
Sir, one thing I tell you very honestly, when I start the TV, our children, they come, they say, stop this rubbish thing, why you are watching?
Okay.
You are the businessman, and here you should think positively, because you are in the positive country.
Okay.
And positive state. And our things are, when we see the outside the balcony, you will feel everything. Burj Khalifa lighting burning, or very good seeing the Burj Khalifa, other thing, all lights are, and you feel very happy when you come outside and you feel very happy. Even we can go tea, you need one tea, 1 dirham you pay, the people will come and deliver it to your door. Our children are very happy, and many parents, yes sir.
Let me tell you that's really great to hear. It's very heartening to listen to that. But sir, you might be, a well-accomplished man yourself, and kudos to you for that. a lot of Indians have actually left the entire Gulf area and they've made their way back home. So do you have friends who have young children and, maybe a little bomb interception in the night sky, something like that have hurt them a little bit? Help us understand if there is any case that you know of, any of your friends or their children, if they're going through some sort of trouble and problem. Because the idea is not to sensationalize this aspect, but to understand what parents who are not in as good a position as you are, who don't have very sound children like you do, maybe they're watching television right now looking at some news. What is the message that we can give to them, sir?
Sir, one thing I tell you, first off thing, Dubai family people did not go anywhere in India or other countries. Only the about 50,000 people they visited to tourists and other places, and they are visit visa, they go back to the country. Okay. Many children's parents are here and they are teaching because Dubai is a very safe. Education is going on, but they online they are doing working. And the government side, all the support is there. And government and local authority and His Highness, they support each people. They say this is not a family. You are one family of the UAE, because UAE and India relationship is like a brotherly relation. We are, everybody say Dubai is our second home, but I say proudly Dubai is our first home.
Okay.
Second home in India.
We have a proud DXB supporter here. Dr. Raheja, the parent over there says there's no problem at all. There's no trauma in the Gulf kids. Now, I don't buy it. And I'm again saying that, God forbid the situation for Mr. Bhatia changes. Let God support them like the way they have been doing. And, real sound children talks volumes about your own nurturing as well and the capacity, how you've brought up your children. But Dr. Raheja, what can schools do more at this point in time? And what needs to be done once you assess those symptoms? How quickly should you seek professional help? Very quickly, Dr. Raheja.
So a couple of things. Number one, do not brush things under the carpet. Do not hesitate to talk to your children. Communicate with them. Give them the right information. Cushion them. It is important for us to filter the information to the children so that, they are able to process it emotionally and it does not work like a emotional bombing to them, in their psyche. And the moment we see symptoms, whether it's clinging behavior, it's withdrawn behavior, it is irritability, it is anger, it is signs of depression, it is truancy, not wanting to go to school, not wanting to go to social events, that is the time it's important to seek professional help and to assist them into processing, what they're going through.
All right. Mr. Bhatia, many thanks for taking up the time. I wish you all the very best and best of luck. This is in no point we're trying to cast a shadow of doubt over Dubai or its safety. And Dr. Raheja, always a pleasure to have you with us here on News9. All right, you heard the psychiatrist and the parent. There's no need to worry over here, but let's not brush the entire issue under the carpet. It's good to talk about it. There's little more that school and parents all and everybody can do, and keep a lookout for these symptoms, because when you're directly or indirectly exposed to these sirens and these bomb shellings, it can take a toll on these young minds and children. That's all the time we have for you in this edition of In Your Interest. We're going to catch you again tomorrow. Many thanks for watching.
खेलता है झूलता उछलता है दौड़ता कभी कभी दौड़ कराता है आगे आगे बढ़ता है इंडिया अमूल दूध पीता है इंडिया।
नितेश श्रीवास्तव जी सिर्फ 35 साल की उम्र में अचानक एक बीमारी से चले गए। उनकी टर्म लाइफ इंश्योरेंस के पैसे बच्चों की पढ़ाई और घर खर्च में काम आ सकते हैं। पॉलिसी बाजार ने क्लेम के वक्त फैमिली का पूरा साथ दिया। पॉलिसी बाजार पे 2 करोड़ का टर्म लाइफ इंश्योरेंस सिर्फ 700 रुपए महीने से शुरू।
हमें स्वस्थ रखने वाली सारी चीजें ज्यादातर शुद्ध होनी चाहिए। सूर्य की किरणें और स्वच्छ पानी, वैसा ही है लाइन अरेबियन डेट्स। और अब लाइना डेट्स, इसमें फाइबर्स और विटामिन भी कुदरती हैं, जो देता है स्वास्थ्य भी कुदरती।
लाइना प्रीमियम डेट्स।
This is India's #1 news network, and you're watching News9, English news as it should be.
Iran says it shall not participate in this summer's FIFA World Cup, co-hosted by the United States. The sports minister said the decision follows US and Israeli airstrikes that killed Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, adding that under no circumstances can Iran take part in the tournament. Take a look.
Iran's sports minister said on Wednesday that the country will not participate in this summer's FIFA World Cup, which is being co-hosted by the United States. The decision follows U.S. and Israeli airstrikes that killed Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. The sports minister said that considering his assassination, quote, under no circumstances can we participate in the World Cup.
And here it is in the Oval Office.
FIFA President Gianni Infantino said he had met with U.S. President Donald Trump, who told him he welcomed Iran's participation in the 2026 tournament. Iran qualified for the tournament in March of last year, but it missed a FIFA planning summit for World Cup participants held last week in Atlanta. It was the only nation not in attendance. Reuters has contacted the Iranian Football Federation for comment, while there was no immediate comment from FIFA on a replacement if Iran followed through with a boycott. Earlier this week, Australia granted humanitarian visas to 5 Iranian women soccer players after they sought asylum, fearing persecution on their return home for their refusal to sing the national anthem at a Women's Asian Cup match. On Wednesday, Australian police helped 2 more members of the Iranian women's soccer delegation slip their chaperones to claim asylum, but the country's interior minister said one changed her mind and decided to go back to Iran.
Iran appeared to have set ablaze 2 tankers in Iraqi waters as it stepped up attacks on oil and transport facilities across the Middle East, sending oil prices soaring yet again. Here's more on this report.
Iran seems to have attacked and set fire to 2 oil tankers in Iraqi waters. Port officials say Iranian boats loaded with explosives attacked 2 vessels, setting them on fire and killing 1 crew member. The incident is one part of Iran's growing attacks on oil and shipping sites across the Middle East. Tehran is warning that crude could reach $200 per barrel as a result, as it seeks to impose a prolonged economic shock. The attacks also push back on Trump's confident claims of victory.
You know, you never like to say too early you won. We won. We won the bet. In the first hour, it was over.
The conflict has roiled global energy markets and shipping. Oil prices, which hit nearly $120 a barrel earlier this week before dropping, rose almost 10% on Thursday in Asian trading. That saw international benchmark Brent crude top $100 for a time. The International Energy Agency on Wednesday recommended releasing 400 million barrels from global strategic reserves. The move aims to ease one of the worst oil shocks since the 1970s and will be the largest such intervention in history. U.S. Energy Secretary Chris Wright said Trump has authorized the release of 172 million barrels from the U.S. Strategic Petroleum Reserve from next week. The Strait of Hormuz, a narrow channel of Iran carrying 1/5 of global oil, is effectively shut. There are currently no signs that ships can pass through safely. An Iranian military spokesperson said Wednesday the strait was undoubtedly under Tehran's control. Sources say the country has placed about a dozen mines in the channel, making the blockade harder to break. G7 nations have agreed to consider providing naval escorts so ships can move freely in the Gulf.
President Donald Trump made his first campaign stop since the war in Iraq began, visiting Ohio and Kentucky with a message to reassure voters uneasy about the rising prices of gas. He reiterated that oil prices are already coming back down. Listen in.
President Donald Trump made his first campaign stop since the war in Iran began, on Wednesday visiting Ohio and Kentucky with a message to reassure voters